Today we're going to be looking at doing some hand lettering. This is one of my favorite things to do while I am at church. I have always been someone who has trouble focusing when the pastor's speaking, so I've recently discovered if I use the verse and make some art out of it, it is much easier for me to focus. So there's going to be two parts to this project. The first part is going to be fairly quick, and it's going to be the background. And we're going to look here at doing a watercolor background. And then we're going to spend some time practicing hand lettering using cursive. Everyone will be doing the same verse, Psalm 46:1. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And I want this verse to be an encouragement to you as you grow up. You are going to face different troubles, whether it be hardships in your life or difficulties that you face. And you always need to remember that God is your refuge and He is your strength. And He's always going to help you in those times of trouble. The first part of this project that we're going to do is create the watercolor background. So I have here just a cup of water, a brush, and my watercolors. And I'm going to select either 2 or 3 colors to use for my background. Now when I'm using watercolors, I want to start with the darker color first and then work my way into the lighter color. So I think for this one I'm going to do blue, green, and yellow. So I'm just going to dab my brush in the water and bring over some water to my blue. Now with my watercolors, I want to make sure that my watercolor is nice and milky. By having it milky, like how it's showing up here, I am able to know that I'm then ready for painting. With this background, I'm just going to do circular motions in a circle to create that cloudy background that you saw in my example. I don't have to worry too much about being perfect because this is just a background with my verse going over top of it. If I want to add more details into my clouds, I can rub into here and just do some curved movements to kind of make those have more dimension to them. For this hand lettering, we are going to be doing basic cursive with adding some flares as we desire to make that cursive more appealing. On my example, I had made a little loop here on my R to kind of make it a little bit more standing out, looping my T, changing my letters a little bit to make them just have some more character than they usually do. To make this a little bit easier, it is probably good for you to draw some really nice light lines across your paper so that way you don't end up slanting your letters. And my line is so light you can almost not see it, so I'll bring it a little closer. I want to make it light because I'm going to be erasing it there at the end. And we will have 6 lines of writing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with our scripture verse reference at the end. So there's 1, make the top one nice and tall, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once again, these lines are not perfect. I actually see that this one here slants a little bit, but it definitely helps me a little bit easier with having this the way it should be. Okay, now I'm going to begin with my cursive letters. And I actually am going through this line a little bit because I want my word to be nice and bold. Now that I have my initial draft of my letters done, I'm going to go back through, and everywhere that I pulled down, I am going to make my letters bolder. So what I'm going to do is, here I go up, so I'm not going to do anything, but here where I go down, I'm going to outline it. And I know it's kind of hard to see with the white paper, so let's zoom in here. There we go. So here I go down, so I'm going to make it bolder. But I come up, I go down. Here I go down, so I make it bolder. Up, I go down. So you're kind of making an outline around those, but only on your down strokes to make the letters stand out. Now that I'm done with my pencil work, I am going to go back through and I'm going to use this Paper Mate Flare black marker pen to fill in the areas. So I'm first going to start by tracing over my normal letters. And don't worry about directly staying on the pencil because we will erase at the end. But I want to make sure I'm doing this word by word, so that way I don't smudge the marker. So that I did my normal. I'm going to go back through and did where I'm going to make it bolder on my down strokes. Just like that. Now some places here where it's got 2 points, I can go over that, fill that in a little bit. Now I'm going to fill in this white area in between it. And you will start to see the letter come more to life. I like to twist my paper so I don't have to worry about smudging. Also gives me a better angle at filling in my letters. You want to try and keep your marker going the same direction so you don't end up with too many stray marks. And when you do have a stray mark, like I just made one there, I can just smooth it over, following it through. So now I'm just going to keep continuing to fill in all of these spaces. Now that I'm all done with my lettering, I'm going to go back through with a craft eraser and I'm going to erase my pencil. I want to press nice and light so that I don't tear the paper. I want to make sure I don't smudge. And get all of that off. You'll notice on the verse reference, I just traced it normally, but I can add some accents to it to make it a little bit brighter in a moment. So I'm just getting all of that pencil off of there, erasing in one direction so I don't crinkle the paper, holding the paper with my fingers as well to apply the pressure. And then it comes out nice and neat. Making sure I get all of those lines that I made across it. Just touching it up. And there I go. Now, you could either leave this plain, just a normal font, or what I like to do is I like to make an extra stroke where I pull down. So I just, where I would pull down, I fill it in a little darker. Just makes it a little bit bolder to where it stands out on the page. There we go. Now that that is done, and my watercolor background is dry, I will now take a couple glue dots, and I will adhere 4 glue dots, one for each corner, onto the 4 corners of my page, and I will glue it in the middle, and there is my final project, making sure that I have it nice and lined up.